There's a truth every high-value man knows. Respect is never asked for. It's something you embody. And here's the coldest part. Women don't respect your words. They respect your boundaries. They respect your backbone. They respect what you say no to. More than anything, you say yes to. Most men don't lose their woman when they stop loving her. They lose her when they stop commanding respect. She stops seeing you as a man, not because you changed, but because you gave away your power in 1,000 small, silent ways. But that ends now. I'm going to give you the 5 most powerful boundaries you'll ever need. Not to control her, but to master yourself so clearly, so unapologetically, that she has no choice but to recalibrate the way she sees you. If you're ready to live like that, comment below. I choose respect. 1. Never reward disrespect. This is the first rule. Swallow it raw, no sugar, no excuses. The moment you accept disrespect, you become replaceable in her mind. It doesn't matter how long you've been together, how loyal you are, or how much you've sacrificed. If you let her belittle you, ignore you, challenge you for no reason, and you stay silent, or worse, apologize for something she did wrong, you send one loud, clear message. My self-worth depends on your approval. That's a death sentence to attraction. She may say she loves you, but watch her eyes, watch her tone, watch how she speaks to you when no one's watching. That's where the truth lives. Respect isn't in her compliments, it's in her consistency. How she treats you when she's not trying to impress you. A woman will never respect a man who stays loyal after she's crossed his line. She may tolerate him. She may use him. She may keep him around for comfort. But she doesn't look up to him. She doesn't feel safe with him. Because here's the truth. A man without boundaries isn't a safe space. He's a soft space. And soft spaces, they don't get walked with. They get walked on. When she tests your values, your direction, your authority, and you cave, she doesn't feel love. She feels insecurity. Because if you can't protect your own dignity, how could you ever protect her? So how do you fix this? How do you build that silent respect, the kind that softens her voice and steadies her gaze when she speaks to you? You create consequences without chaos. You become the man who never shouts, never begs, never over-explains, but also never tolerates disrespect. Not once. Disrespect doesn't always come loud. Sometimes it's subtle. It's when she constantly interrupts you. It's when she mocks your goals. It's when she brings up her ex, not accidentally, but to provoke you. It's when she flirts with other men in front of you and calls you insecure for noticing. It's when she goes silent instead of communicating like an adult. These are not random moments. They are micro hits to your soul, and they add up fast. So what do? Step 1. Call it out. Once. Calmly. Clearly. Say it without emotion. Don't speak to me that way again. If it happens again, I'm done. No arguing, no debating, no second chances. If it happens again, you leave. No games, no rage, just calm, firm clarity. And when you do this, one of 2 things will happen. She'll level up, or she'll leave. If she leaves, good. That's one less parasite draining your energy. One step closer to the man who commands respect, not just from women, but from the entire world. Because this isn't just about dating. This is about your entire life, your boss, your friends, your family. People treat you based on what you tolerate. And if you let it slide, they'll take it as a green light to keep going. A man with no boundaries gets worn down. He burns out. He resents everyone around him. And eventually, he either explodes or he breaks. But a man who honors himself, he becomes solid. He becomes focused. He builds a life so deeply aligned with who he is that only those who respect him can enter it. That's not arrogance. That's evolution. What does this look like in action? It means doing what 99% of men are too afraid to do. If she flakes, don't chase. If she mocks your values, don't explain. If she throws drama at you, don't react. You set the standard. You walk away when disrespect is served, not once, every time. And if she ever wants to come back into your life, she doesn't get there with apologies. She earns it through consistent behaviour. Never let emotion override execution. You're always training her, either to respect you or to run circles around you. Now, you might be wondering, how do I stay strong when I miss her? What if she's the only woman I've ever loved? Here's the hard truth. If you're addicted to her attention, it means you're not building anything in your own life worth being addicted to. So redirect that obsession. Pour it into yourself. Build your body. Because a strong body creates a strong mind. Wake up earlier than you want to. Run when your mind screams, rest. Lift until your arms go numb. That pain becomes power. That power becomes discipline. That discipline becomes clarity. And from that clarity, you build the life you were always meant to lead. Build something that doesn't need anyone's approval. Learn a skill that makes you valuable, not just to women, but to the world. Stop scrolling for dopamine. Start creating. Write, building, move, be alone. Not as a victim, but as a warrior sharpening his edge. Read, study, take cold showers. Not because it's trending, but because you choose discomfort. Because you're in control now. Clean your room. Organise your finances. Cut off weak friends. Walk away from environments that drain your spirit. Create a personal code. And follow it with religious discipline. When you stop tolerating disrespect from her, you stop tolerating mediocrity in yourself. And that is the transformation. That's when you no longer seek respect. You command it. Your presence shifts the energy in the room. Your eyes speak before your mouth does. You become the kind of man others either fear or admire, but never ignore. And one day, the same woman who once played games with you will see you again. And she won't even recognize the man you've become. You won't need to say a word. She'll know. She'll feel it. She'll sense that she lost access to something she'll never touch again. And that will haunt her more than anything you could ever say. That's how you rise. That's how you become unshakable, by drawing a line and standing behind it. Alone if you must, but firm, forever. Start now. Your time isn't infinite. Every second you tolerate disrespect is a second you delay your greatness. Don't wait for rock bottom. Build your foundation now, and never, ever reward disrespect again. Rule 2. Guard your peace. There's one thing that will define the rest of your life as a man, and it's this. Peace is not found. Peace is defended, because your life depends on it, literally. The man who has no peace wakes up reactive, pulled in 1,000 directions, living in survival mode. He's not living. He's performing for women, for friends, for family, for people who wouldn't even notice if he crumbled tomorrow. There comes a time when every man must realize peace is power, not money, not status, not cars or clout or attention. Peace. Because when you have peace, your decisions are no longer emotional. They're intentional. You don't jump at insults. You don't explain yourself to doubters. You don't get rattled when someone walks away. You don't chase validation that costs you your soul. Peace is the ultimate flex, and the world can feel it, even when you say nothing. It's not your shouting that commands respect. It's when your silence means something. But most men don't guard their peace. They leak it. Every instant reply to a pointless text, every argument they walk into, every chaotic person they keep around, every yes they say from guilt, every late-night call with a woman who ignores them by daylight, every time they explain their worth to people who never valued it. All of it is a leak. And over time, those leaks drain you dry until you're nothing more than a hollow man wearing the mask of who he used to dream of becoming. You cannot build an empire with a chaotic mind. You cannot lead a relationship with an anxious soul. You cannot earn respect while begging the world to give you peace you never gave yourself. And women? They feel it instantly. They sense when your energy is scattered, when your time isn't sacred, when your space lacks discipline, when your schedule bends to whatever mood she feels that day. That doesn't make her love you more. It makes her feel like she's steering the ship, and no woman respects a man who needs to be led. So, what does it mean to guard your peace? It means becoming unavailable to chaos, not as a defense mechanism, but as a conscious design of your life. It means looking at everything, your phone, your relationships, your habits, your calendar, and asking, does this protect my peace or poison it? If it poisons it, it goes. Immediately. No second chances, no dramatic exit, just gone. You don't argue anymore because arguments require you to prove yourself. And men at peace don't explain themselves to chaos. You don't chase anymore. Because chasing pulls you out of presence. You don't scroll endlessly because every scroll is a decision to numb instead of build. You don't sleep in because sleeping in is a message to your soul that your life isn't urgent. You don't talk to everyone because access to you is sacred. Peace is boundaries without explanations. You say no and that's it. You leave texts unanswered when they come from people who never gave you peace. You stop showing up to gatherings where gossip is the currency. And yes, people will talk. They'll call you arrogant, distant, cold, but that's only because they used to feed on your constant availability. Let them talk. Let them miss you. Let them wonder what changed. While they talk, you build. You build something solid. A life you control. A life where you choose who gets in. Not one where you're begging to be liked by people who don't even like themselves. You wake up early, not because it's trendy, but because those hours before the world stirs are where your edge is forged. You build your life like a fortress. You read, not to impress anyone, but because books remind you how small your problems really are. You take long walks alone, not out of loneliness, but because peace walks with the man who doesn't fear solitude. You train your body, not for attention, not for six-pack validation, but because physical discipline is spiritual warfare. You keep your space clean, not to impress a guest, but because chaos cannot survive where order lives. Peace is power, because the man who masters his mind masters his world. The man who can't be baited into arguments, into chaos, into guilt, into distractions or emotional traps. That man is untouchable. That's what women are drawn to but can't explain. That's what employers trust. That's what real friends respect. That's what other men see and silently think. He's different. You need to understand, when a woman creates emotional noise, she's not always trying to destroy you. She's trying to find your edge. She needs to know, does your world hold firm, or does it collapse under pressure? So she starts a fight out of nowhere. She asks loaded questions. She pulls back just to watch how you react, not to hurt you, but to find your center, to see if your world still stands when she leans on it. And if every time she pokes, you flinch, react, explain, defend, then there is no center. Only reaction, only noise, only weakness. But if you stay calm, hold the silence longer than her confusion, and respond, not react when you choose to, you don't just protect your peace, you announce that it's non-negotiable. She will either rise to match your energy, or she will remove herself from your life. Both are wins. Because the second you surrender your peace just to keep someone around, you've already lost. And once you lose yourself, it doesn't matter if you're loved, because the man she fell for no longer exists. What's the point of love if it demands your soul as collateral? You want to change your life? Then build a peace so strong it offends anyone who thrives in chaos. A peace so real you stop flinching when people say, "You've changed," because you have, and that change is pulling the right people in while pushing the wrong ones out. Here's the irony. Everything you used to chase, attention, validation, love, respect, starts chasing you. Because now, you're rare. You're the man who doesn't need the world's approval to feel whole. That peace will heal you. It will sharpen your choices. It will expose your real friends. It will teach you how to love without losing yourself. And it will become the foundation that no woman, no betrayal, no loss, no failure can shake. Guard it like gold. Because once you truly own your peace, you'll never trade it for chaos again. A woman doesn't want to dive into your soul every day. She wants to feel your depth, not drown in it. She wants to discover you, not carry you. The moment you open the floodgates, every emotion, every doubt, every wound, every overthought dream, you stop being her man. You become her project. And women don't fall in love with projects. They fall for men who can carry their own weight, speak when it matters, and withhold just enough to remain magnetic. You've been told your whole life, open up, be vulnerable, share more. But how did that work out? Did she pull you closer when you confessed your fears? Did her eyes fill with admiration when you cried about life's unfairness? Or did something shift, subtle, unspoken, where suddenly she no longer saw you as her protector, but as her emotional equal? And while that may sound noble, here's the truth. When you put your emotional world on her shoulders, she might comfort you, but she no longer craves you. There is a sacred distance that preserves the polarity between masculine and feminine. Not dishonesty, not coldness, distance. It's the space between what she sees and what she still doesn't fully understand. That mystery? It's the fire, it's the tension, it's what keeps her curious, what keeps her leaning in. But when you reveal everything too soon, you kill the mystery. And when the mystery dies, so does desire. This isn't about becoming stoic to the point of silence. You're human, you feel, you bleed, you battle demons she'll never see. But the difference between a respected man and a tolerated man is how he carries those emotions. A respected man feels deeply, but moves with intention. He doesn't collapse. He doesn't make his pain someone else's responsibility. He doesn't weaponize his story to gain sympathy. He integrates it quietly, steadily, alone if he must. When you share too much too soon, you create emotional clutter. She's not sure what to do with it. It overwhelms her, it confuses her. And instead of feeling close, she feels smothered. Not because she's heartless, but because she wants to lean on you, not become your emotional savior. That's why the most respected men you know, they rarely speak about themselves. They offer glimpses, not blueprints. Presence, not explanations. Leadership, not confession. They don't speak just to be understood. They act in a way that demands understanding, and in that restraint is their power. Respect is the root of true intimacy, deeper than words, deeper than affection. If you want to change your life, start treating your story like a treasure chest, not a brochure. Let her earn access to you. Let her wonder what drives you. Let her feel the silence and choose to lean closer. When she asks, give just enough to make her ask again. Not because you're hiding, but because you're preserving the polarity. You're building intrigue, the fuel that keeps attraction burning long after the honeymoon fades. Most men mistake talking for connection. They believe if she knows everything, she'll never leave. But the opposite is true. She doesn't leave because she doesn't know you. She leaves because you gave her everything too soon. There was nothing left to discover. No mystery. No chase. She stops seeing you as a challenge. She starts seeing you as predictable, and predictability is the death of desire. This isn't manipulation, it's mastery. Emotional discipline, strategic vulnerability, the kind of openness that comes from strength, not need. You speak your truth when it's time, not when you're uncomfortable. You share your struggles when they serve the mission, not when you need a shoulder to cry on. You reveal your heart in doses that sharpen your edge, not soften it. Stop trying to be relatable. That edge she saw in you, that energy that made her look twice, it fades every time you explain yourself for comfort. You don't need to be understood. You need to be felt. Stand your ground when she disagrees. Let her sit with the unknown. Let her wonder who you are instead of assuming it. That's what builds tension. That's what keeps her chasing. Your peace is not a group project. Your mission is not a collaboration. Your vision is not up for discussion. When you share it too freely, it becomes diluted. When you overshare your insecurities, they become weapons in the wrong hands. When you speak every time you feel something, you become a speaker, not a leader. Practice the power of presence. Sit with your pain. Write it down. Channel your confusion into action. Build a fortress around your inner world, not to keep people out, but to ensure that only the worthy come in. And when they do, you don't drown them in emotion. You invite them to witness your resilience. You don't break down. You open, like a sunrise, slow, intentional, earned. That is what makes you unforgettable. Not how much you shared, but how much you carried without asking her to carry it with you. The quieter you become, the more magnetic you are. Because now you're rare. You're not just a man with a story. You're a man with a center. You don't just survive life. You navigate it, calm, focused, with the quiet strength of someone who knows exactly who he is, and more importantly, doesn't need the world to confirm it. This is how you keep her attention. This is how you keep your edge. This is how you stay respected, not just in love, but in every room you enter. Rule number 4. No emotional reactivity. Control isn't the absence of emotion. It's the presence of mastery. The man who cannot be moved emotionally at will. That's the man who's finally found the roots of his power. Not because he's numb, but because he's no longer a slave to his emotions. The world wants you reactive. Women test for it. Weak men live by it. But the man who becomes still in chaos, he's the one who dominates silently. You've seen the test. She shifts her tone, throws a sarcastic jab, pulls away without reason, and your stomach drops. Your mind spins. Your words start chasing hers, desperate to fix something you don't understand. That's emotional reactivity. It's when your internal state becomes dependent on her external behaviour. And once she senses that power, the dynamic begins to decay. quietly, permanently. This isn't about being cold. It's about being sovereign, emotionally sovereign, fully feeling, but no longer ruled by those feelings. The man who can stand calm in front of a woman testing his edge, a boss questioning his worth, or a stranger throwing shade, and still remain in his frame, that man is unshakable. You don't need to explain. You don't need to argue. You don't need to react. You need to remain rooted, present, powerful, silent, because when she tests you, she's not trying to destroy you. She's trying to locate you, to see if your strength is real, not loud, not performative, but foundational. And when you pass that test, she doesn't just calm down, she melts, because she just met the rarest thing in the modern world, a man who doesn't blink. But you can't fake this. You can't pretend to be calm while boiling inside. You can't hold your frame if your inner world is chaos. This begins deeper. It begins when you confront your triggers. The parts of you that flinch at disapproval, that panic when love feels distant, that scramble to defend when you're misunderstood. You look at those parts and say, you don't get to lead anymore. You feel the impulse, but you don't obey it. You create space. And in that space, between trigger and reaction, you reclaim your power. That's where kings are born. This practice will transform you. You begin to see what others miss. You hear what's behind her words instead of reacting to the surface. You stop needing the last word. You stop defending your character to people unqualified to judge it. You begin treating your attention like gold, because that's exactly what it is. And anyone who wants access to it, they better come correct. It changes everything. The ones who used to provoke you grow frustrated because their chaos no longer moves you. They start questioning themselves. And those drawn to strength begin orbiting around you, because calm attracts clarity, and clarity draws in everything chaos repels. You'll notice it. You talk less, move slower, observe more. You wait, you study, you don't flinch at her changing moods. You don't chase after her silences. You don't decode every shift in tone. You understand her emotions are hers, and if you can hold space for her storms without drowning in them, she will trust you more deeply than any man before. Not because you fixed her, but because you never lost yourself trying to. This is your superpower, the one most men will never access. Because they're enslaved to emotion, camouflaged as passion. They fight pointless battles. They burn bridges because of bruised egos. They chase arguments to defend fragile pride. But you exit chaos like it's beneath you. Because it is. You don't get pulled in. You move around it, above it, through it, without contact. You'll walk into a meeting and get challenged. You'll smile, you'll be betrayed, and disappear like oxygen from a fire. You'll hear rumours and stay silent. Because truth doesn't panic. You'll be ghosted, rejected, overlooked, and you won't collapse. You'll rise quietly, with purpose. No emotional reactivity means this. You stop handing the steering wheel of your life to your feelings, and you start steering with discipline. One boundary at a time, you begin to build your kingdom. Rule number 5, always be willing to walk away. Too many men stay in jobs that drain them, in relationships that emasculate them, in friendships that disrespect them. Why? Fear. Fear of being alone, fear of starting over, fear of what people might think. So they shrink. They smile. They say, "It's not that bad." And slowly, they become invisible, not just to others, but to themselves. But the man who is willing to walk away from anything that insults his soul, that man is dangerous. That man is magnetic, because he doesn't stay for comfort. He stays because it aligns with his standard. And the second it doesn't, He's gone. You stay because she brings peace, growth, and purpose into your world. The first kind of man is tested relentlessly. The second kind, she watches herself around him. She brings her best because she knows the second she stops respecting what he brings to the table, he'll leave. Walking away doesn't mean heartlessness. It means being loyal to yourself above all else. It's saying, I love you, but I love my values more. I love my peace more. I love the man I'm becoming more. That detachment isn't cold, it's divine. It frees you from begging for crumbs. It elevates your circle. It purifies your space. It reminds you that nothing is worth keeping if it costs you your identity. When you live like this, people either rise to your level or they exit. There is no middle. And that's the point. Your standard becomes the filter. Over time, everything left in your life will reflect who you are at your highest, not your most fearful. You must become so secure in your self-worth that you can walk away from pleasure, comfort, attention, validation, and even love if it means protecting your mission. That's when you become truly dangerous. Not to others, but to mediocrity, codependence, and anything that tries to cage you. And here's what most won't tell you. The real growth happens after you walk. The strength, the clarity, the expansion, it doesn't come while you're holding on. It comes in the silence that follows your final step away. In that space, you meet the next version of yourself. The one who no longer tolerates chaos for company. The one who no longer begs. The one who no longer stays just to feel needed. Be willing to walk away from anything that makes you forget who you are. And once you do, you'll never beg, chase, or tolerate disrespect again. The moment you choose self-respect over comfort, your life begins. Not just your relationship, not just your confidence, your entire life. The man you were is gone, and the man you're becoming. He doesn't chase approval. He builds standards. He doesn't fold under pressure. He sharpens in silence. He doesn't seek to be understood. He seeks to be undeniable. You were never meant to live on your knees for love, attention, or acceptance. You were meant to walk in power, quietly, calmly, with the unshakable knowledge that respect is not something you demand. It's something you design. If you felt this shift deep inside you, don't let it fade. Lock it in. This is not the end. This is the beginning of a new era for you. A version of you that no longer tolerates being less than what you were born to be. If this message struck something deep inside you, reminded you of the man you were always meant to become, then subscribe to the channel, share this video with a friend, and comment below. I choose respect over validation, because when you support this movement, you're not just helping this channel grow, you're helping another man finally hear what no one ever told him.